President in Uganda, the one supposed to be re-elected. We are going to re-elect him. Shame upon on all his haters.
Political analysis. Jafire wrote a Law's address to President Museveni, a loyalist critic in disguise. Jafire, also known as Ruoralo, recently delivered a political charged message on TikTok that, while wrapped in the language of loyalty to President Museveni and the National Resistance Movement (NRM), operates as a veiled critic of the regime's failure to meaningfully engage Uganda's youth. His speech is an intriguing case of praise through criticism, a rhetorical method where one appears to show allegiance while subtly exposing systemic weaknesses.
Rastafari ya kiwar madit amira loge da kami tambot vuliwa kida kamera mi tambot His Excellency President Museveni ana waju da kanu any President dokaro kerpepe wa bol kui baramira mi tambot gamente. I know I'm not the presidential advisor, but Mr. President, it is high time this time when you get back to office, focus on the youths. Because young people, we are 80% in this country. The reason why Bobi Wine is confusing young people, because Bobi Wine is a youth. So I want this government, your mission this time, sir, Mr. Your Excellency, you must focus on the young people, focus on the youths, because more times they use the youths to bring chaos. They use the youths to go and disturb the peace. So focus on the jobless youths, focus on the youths who have no way out. Because this is what I see, that is what is wrong with this government. This government must focus on the youths. I'm the strongest supporter of the government. I support the NRM Pakalas. I support Museveni Pakalas. But I need to advise you, sir. Yes, because young people, we are the future. So you need to protect the young people, support, and let your government this time focus and deal with the issues of the young. Then you will reign and God will bless you. I hear you want to go to Nyantolo, you want to go to heaven, Mr. President. Yes, sir. You will go to heaven if you help the young people. If you help them, God will clear your way. You will go to Nyantolo. This is what I want to say to His Excellency President Museveni, the reigning president in Uganda, the one supposed to be re-elected. We are going to re-elect him. Shame upon on all his haters. Holy Manuel Selassie, Rastafari.
But the first thing is the dual tone, loyalty versus lamentation. At first glance, Jafire appears to be a devout supporter of Museveni, repeatedly affirming his loyalty with phrases like, I support the NRM Pakalas, and we are going to re-elect him. However, beneath his surface level endorsement lies a more serious undertone of dissatisfaction. By insisting that this government must focus on the youth and repeating the phrase focus on the youth several times, he underscores a long-standing grievance that Museveni's administration has failed to prioritize the generation that now constitutes 80% of Uganda's population. In a rhetorical terms, Jafire positions himself as a friendly critic, one who praises the leader publicly but offers piercing social truths wrapped in flattery. His reputation of focus on the youth functions almost like a moral indictment disguised as advice. The second thing is exposing Museveni's disconnect from the youth. The most revealing line comes when Jafire admits the reason why Bobi Wine is confusing young people is because Bobi Wine is a youth. This statement, while intended to explain Bobi Wine's influence, actually confirms Museveni's fundamental political vulnerability. A widening generational gap between the ruling elite and the country's youthful majority. Jafire unconsciously acknowledges that the youth do not identify with Museveni's aging leadership, but rather with the youthful image of Bobi Wine, a man who embodies their social frustrations, urban struggles, and hopes of transformation. Thus, when Jafire says Bobi Wine is confusing the youth, The subtext is that Bobi Wine understands the youth, something Museveni no longer does. It is not confusion, but connection. The implication is that Museveni's government has failed to cultivate this connection, leaving a vacuum that opposition leaders have filled through authenticity and shared experience. The third thing is the ghetto symbolism, what Jafire really meant. Jafire's language carries echoes of ghetto consciousness, the same narrative Bobi Wine rose from. When he refers to jobless youth and those who have no way out, he touches the nerve of Uganda's social crisis, mass unemployment, disillusionment, and moral exhaustion among the young. His message recognizes that these are the very people who become vulnerable to political manipulation and protest mobilization, not because they are inherently chaotic, but because they are economically abandoned. By emphasizing that they use the youth to disturb the peace, Jafire unintentionally reveals how the government views the youth, not as partners in nation building, but as instruments of unrest. His plea focuses on the youth who have no way out, thus becomes a moral call for dignity, inclusion, and opportunity in governance. Fourthly, religious and cultural undertones. Jafire weaves spirituality into his message. You will go to heaven if you help the young people. The metaphorical heaven and Nairobi, used amorously to mean rest or peace, adds a prophetic tone to his appeal. It suggests that divine legitimacy depends not on political tenure, but on moral justice. In Acholi and Rastafarian thought alike, moral leadership and divine blessing are intertwined. Jafire subtly implies that Museveni's spiritual destiny hinges on how he treats the youth, the soul of the nation. The fifth thing is the irony of support. Even while declaring himself the strongest supporter of the government, Jafire's emotional tone betrays a sense of disappointment. His repeated insistence that Museveni must focus on the youth this time implies that previous terms failed to do so. By calling the issue of youth neglect what is wrong with this government, he inadvertently admits that the NRM's biggest weakness is its alienation of the very demographic it should depend on for renewal. His declaration of support, therefore, feels less like enthusiasm and more like resignation. A loyalist pleading with a leader to correct course before it's too late. Something me personally cannot do. For me, I just quit. The sixth thing is the broader political message. Jafire's TikTok statement encapsulates a broader truth about Uganda's political climate. The regime's traditional base of loyalty is showing ideological fatigue. Many loyalists, especially within the artistic and grassroots community, now voice truth through allegiance, a survival strategy in a system where open criticism can be risky. His statement is thus not just about Museveni or Bobi Wine, but about the generational identity crisis in Ugandan politics. The gap between a revolutionary past and a restless future. Jafire's plea is not rebellion, but warning. Unless Museveni's government redefines its relationship with the youth, its legitimacy will erode from within its own ranks. In conclusion, a loyalist's prophetic warning wrote Alur's message stands as both a declaration of faith and a cry of reform. Beneath the patriotic surface lies a sharp awareness of generational despair, ghetto disillusionment, and lost trust. His tone half devotional, half defiant, mirrors the sentiment of many young Ugandans who still respect the legacy of Museveni's revolution, but yearn for a government that speaks their language and understands their struggle. In essence, Jafaya's message is this: we love you, but you are losing us. It is the kind of truth that only a loyal critic dares to speak, softly, spiritually, yet powerfully. I think Jafaya just exposed Museveni's distance from the youth without intending to do so. Thank you.